Control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Sunday edition of the Paranormal Portal's Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm thrilled to be here among you. One more time, one more night, beginning this week, the first day of the week. Can't think of anything more poetic to say about it, but it's Sunday. It's in the last few hours of your weekend, so enjoy it, and I hope you're all ready, because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday night. Paranormal Portal's Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I am here, of course, to entertain you, as always. And are you not entertained? I love that line from the Gladiator movies, of course. But hope you guys are doing great. We had a bunch of great shows. Friday's show was amazing with Deb. We had a lot of wonderful participation, and many of you called in and were a part of the show. So thank you so much for being a part of the shows, as always. And we had a great show last night with Kat Hansen as well. Just fantastic discussions and stuff. And come on over. You want to say hi? It's Mr. Little Portal. It's my minion. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Wave. Hey, it's little Mr. Portal. So, are you having a good night? Do you like ghost stories? Are ghosts scary? Aw. You're not scared though now, right? Are you having fun? Okay. What you doing? What is this?
Watching this one?
Yeah, you're watching this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep talking to everybody, okay? Because see all these names over here, all these people are talking to us. They're here watching us. They see you right now. Does that make you shy? Aw. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my minion. You've heard many stories about him. You hear him hollering in the other room every once in a while. Well, here he is in the flesh, and he's got a nice hairdo, courtesy of having a bath and not brushing his hair. So, just fancy, handsome little man, though. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the last couple shows. They were just amazing. So I'm going to read you some stories, though, as soon as I can get my mouse hand free. So anyway, his name's Elijah, everybody. So yeah, I always call him the minion, but his name's Elijah. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Say, thanks for coming and watching.
Thanks for coming to watch it.
Good job. All right. You want to go see Mom? Do you want to hear ghost stories? You do? Oh, that's sweet, honey. Okay, why don't you go see Mom, and I'll come out and see you in a little bit, okay? All right.
I want to see her.
Okay. All right, well, just sit quietly. Maybe pull this chair out, and you can sit there, okay? Because I got a show to do. Can you do it? In your hand? I'll help you. Okay. Have a seat up there. There you go. We got an in-studio audience tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Minion. So, anyway, let's get the show started. I got a few stories pulled up for you guys. Yeah, make sure to pull it right over here. Are you good? Okay, can I get you anything? Or are you okay now?
Okay.
You want to drink water?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going, all right? Okay, thanks. All right, the first one's coming out of California, ladies and gentlemen, and not a real long one. Can you turn that down, honey? Just a little bit? Can I help you?
No.
Okay. Let me help you because,
Dark.
all right, just a little bit of sound, okay? There you go. Sorry, guys. This is real life. What do you do? So, this one's coming out of California, and it's, let's see. One night, I was over at my girlfriend's house, and we were sitting on her bed listening to music and talking. And after a little bit of talking, I felt the bed comforter moving just a little bit. And I thought she tugged on it and didn't think anything of it, but it was being pulled harder. And we were sitting next to each other, and neither of us were doing anything except sitting with our hands in plain view of each other. So I knew it wasn't her. Then the comforter was being pulled from under us to the end of the bed. I got scared and moved to the back of the bed, and so did she. And I was thinking it might be her cat or something, but I remembered her door was shut, and there was no animals in the room. She was so scared that she jumped into my arms and hugged me really tight. I knew she wasn't playing a trick on me and that she was really scared. The pulling of the comforter stopped, and she eventually fell asleep. And I was really paranoid, though, and I stayed sitting there for an hour just staring. It's kind of funny now that I look back on and think about it, but it was real. There's nothing I can think of that can explain it except some sort of ghost. I've heard a story like this one and thought it was just some kind of joke, but now that I've actually experienced it, I know it's possible for stuff like this to happen. And maybe the ghost was really doing you a favor, like, I got you. I'm your wingman. I'll pull the blanket a little bit. She'll want to get close. That's a good kind of wingman. But the next story. This one comes out of California as well. This is a real short one. When I was younger, I used to share a bunk bed with my brother. I had the top bunk and he had the bottom bunk, and right next to the bed was a shelf, and it was attached to the wall. I tied a toy to a piece of yarn and attached it to the shelf so it dangled, and I don't know why I did that, but probably because it was something to do, but whatever. Yeah?
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it. What are we going to do?
Let's turn it down a little bit.
Did I turn it down a little too much?
Yeah.
Can you go up by Mom and watch it maybe? Can we try that? I'll turn it up, but can you go watch it by Mom?
Just a little bit there.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Okay, so you're staying is what you're saying, right? You're going to stay here by me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. There it is. Well, one night I woke up in the middle. Oh, it just cracked me up. That's so sweet. What can I do, you know? Well, one night I woke up in the middle of the night, and I just laid there in my bed, and my eyes closed, trying to go back to sleep, and all of a sudden, I felt a really cold gust of wind hit me. I turned on my lamp, which was on the dresser by the bed, and looked at the window, and it was closed all the way, and so was my door. And then I noticed that the toy had dangling from my shelf was moving from the wind that hit it. And I thought it was my imagination, but then remembered about the toy, and it was really weird because there's no way to explain it. How could the wind blow into my room when there was no window open to allow it to blow? I still live in this house, and through the years plenty of things have happened, and some I recognize as being in my mind, but others I can't even come close to explaining. I was trying to find a logical explanation for things first, so believe me, When I tell you that something strange happened, something strange really happened. Hmm. The next one, ladies and gentlemen, is out of California as well. And this one is, I started staying the night over at my girlfriend's house. This is a girlfriend kind of night. I tell you, you'd think I searched these or something, but we seem to have a theme, ladies and gentlemen. It's the night of closeness. Staying over at my girlfriend's house when we were just friends, and the first time was a few years ago, and we were both freshmen in high school, and since we were just friends, she set up some blankets and a pillow on a futon on the ground for me to sleep on. That night after we had gone to bed, I woke up in the middle of the night because sometimes I just do. And usually I just go back to bed, but this time it was different. As I was laying there, about to fall asleep, I felt something pushed down on the futon next to me. And I thought it was one of her cats, so I really didn't mind, but then I felt it brush up against my hair. It almost felt like a hand petting me, so I freaked out and jumped up and turned on the lights, but there was nothing there. I checked her whole room for the cats and her dog, but there weren't any there, and her room door was closed, and I left the light on for the rest of the night because I was absolutely terrified. I was considering waking her up, but I didn't want to bother her. And that was the first time I ever spent the night at that house, and the first time I ever experienced anything there, but that didn't stop me from spending the night again. No, I imagine not. Though, and there have been plenty other experiences also. I'll bet there have, and some of them are ghostly related. Many other experiences do, maybe, huh? All right, the next story comes out of Arkansas. Oh, is it? Yeah? This one's coming out of Arkansas, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like my Don No Beard here. You're just like Uncle Don now, huh? I don't even know if you're on camera. Let me see. Just a little fuzzy head peeking up over there. See, there you are. Oh, so adorable. All right. What do you think about that one, Don? Was that pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, you're playing the part of Don Longbeard tonight, okay? You're Uncle Don tonight, okay? Okay. Don, we're not gonna need you anymore. Sorry, you've been replaced. That's a good story. Huh? Are you gonna take over for Uncle Don? No. Oh, okay. You want your own show, don't you? Yeah, smart kid. That's my boy. All right, so the next one. Oh my God, you can't even write this kind of stuff. Okay. This is Arkansas, and we lived at 1101 North Main Street in the very small town of Leola, Arkansas, and our son had a small room right off of us. At first, small things happened, like the stereo turning off or the light going off and on, etc. And then one night, our 4-year-old son was too scared to go to bed. He said that there had been a little girl that had been crawling in bed with him, and he said she would crawl in his bed and he would cover her up, and then the next morning she was always gone. He told us she never told him her name. But when we asked him where she lived, he gave us directions to the cemetery. We kind of passed it off as maybe an imaginary thing until after we moved, and one of our cousin's coworkers asked him who lived in that house, and our cousins lived next door to the house, and he said that it was his cousins, and the lady asked him if we had seen a little girl who lived in the attic. She said the little girl would appear to her kids and told them her name was Chaka Chaka. Chawka, Chaka Chaka. And she said she never saw the girl, but since her son saw her and her kids saw her, then I'm pretty sure that she haunts the house and only appears to small children. One of the neighbors said that in the early 1930s, huh?
That's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you're just like Don. One of the neighbors said in the early 1930s, a log truck driver lived there, and he had a small son, and he said that back then the boys wore dresses too. Oh, okay. And that when the dad left to go to work, he thought the boy went back in and ran his son over and killed him. Oh, what a heartbreaker. My husband also drove a log truck, so I don't know if that was a connection thing or what, but the other lady who lived there worked at the sawmill. There were other things that happened in Leola, too. A long time ago, there was a train, but it's gone now. And when I was a teenager, I could hear the chugging of the train and the whistle. And I've heard other stories, too, about Leola. It's about 6 miles from Jenkins Ferry, where that part of the Civil War took place. What's going on? What's going on? Do you want me to move the chat so you can see how you're doing? Okay, here you go. Where are you? Oh, you're not stood up yet. See, it's a little slower. There you are. Now you're getting up. You got half your face. All right, so that was that story. This is the Bedtime Stories from Beyond. I brought the child, too, for... What?
You're over. You were talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is a little slower, honey. So it's... I got to teach broadcasting. But, yeah, it's just us. That's what's on the internet, honey. Okay? Cool. All right. So ready? Shh. Okay. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Good. All right. This one comes out of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. I moved to a house in Harker Heights, and when I first saw it, I loved all the mirrors that it had, even on the ceiling. When I first moved in, I didn't have any problems, and it all started about 3 months after that. At this time, my son was only about a year old, and it started with this weird feeling like I was being watched. Then I started to hear what sounded like footsteps going from my kitchen tile floor to the carpet in my bedroom. I'd get up and nothing would be there, and it was just me and my son in the house. About a month after I first heard that, I was laying in my bed and felt like someone got in the bed with me. And I sat up and turned on the lights and nothing was there. Boy, this is definitely a theme tonight, isn't it? The people joining people in bed. Nothing was there. Well, nothing visible anyways. And I thought that I must have been dreaming and went back to bed. And a few hours later, I felt it curl up with me. And it didn't give me a bad feeling like it was evil. At first, I thought it could have been my dog Sheba that had passed away a few years before that, because I was curled up right behind my knees in the same way that she would do that. This would happen 1 or 2 times a week, and any time that it would storm. And this continued for about 6 months. After that, something else came. It was dark, and it gave me chills all over. And I'd walk into a room, and it would get so cold, and I could hear loud steps throughout the house. And then my son would start to cry, and I would go to his room, and he'd be staring at the ceiling or would cover his head with the blanket and rock. It was on my way to his room one night when I heard what sounded like wings over the monitor, and then he screamed so loudly. I ran and got him, and he looked so scared, and that he would not go into his room at night at all. He also would tell me some days where it was, and he would say the mean thing is there and then point to it, and I could walk where he would tell me, and it would be cold. The doors would open and shut, and the keys would disappear almost daily, and I had my friend come over and stay with me because I was really starting to get worried to be there by myself. It got so bad that it would start to push or pinch us, and even my son, and people used to say that I was crazy until I would invite them to my house and show them. The ghost or evil thing was not shy. It would act up daily and with anyone there. I went through the blessing of the house, and when I first lit the sage, I felt it push me so hard it almost knocked me down. I went through the whole house, and it calmed down for a few days and then came back. After it came back, there was another spirit there, and this was a good spirit. I could go into a cold room and feel a warm breeze pass me. My son told me it was a boy, and I later got a picture of the little boy in the mirror in my room. And also, when all this was going on, my light bill went from $100 to well over $300 per month. I didn't stay much after that. Also, when the boy came, the city was doing construction right behind my house on that wooded area, in an area that was wooded, and I think that he may have died there and was drawn to my house after that. I know that my son still sees things now, and now he is almost 3 years old, and he can tell me more. We went past the old house, and out of the blue he asks, "Is the scary man still in there?" We have been out since that, and he will say that he sees people that aren't there. Or he asked me once if he could go play with the kids at the park, but it was completely empty. And I asked him what he saw. He described them in good detail to me. Since then, I've read up a lot on ghosts and spirits and will not move anywhere with all those mirrors again. And there are portals for spirits to come through. Or they are. This person believes that mirrors are portals for the spirits to come through. And one thing that I should have done was to get rid of the mirror on my dresser or before I moved, but I didn't know that then, and sometimes I will hear things, but nothing bad has happened. Yeah, mirrors are kind of a supercharged thing, you know. They can be portals. They've been known to be portals. The Druids considered mirrors and glass incredibly mystic surfaces, so. Oh, you need to go pee? Okay. You better go take care of that. All right. I'll wait here. Okay. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So the next one. Oh, my Lord. What a great day. I love when weird things like that happen. I mean, it's just cute. I hope you guys don't mind. I mean, I'm... I suppose it's not incredibly professional, but, you know, look at that face. Could you say no? I'm sure he's so spoiled, but what do? You can only spoil him for a while, so you got to take advantage of that. All right, now this one's kind of a longer one. And this one comes out of Missouri, ladies and gentlemen, and this has occurred for some time ago, but it's still very vivid in my mind of what happened that night. My fiance, our friend Ed, and I were out joyriding around one night when it was pretty late, and I was probably close to midnight, and we were starting to get bored, and my fiance James spoke up and said, well, what do you guys want to do?
I go pee.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Success, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Good job. Okay. Moving along. All right, so the fiance said, what do you want to do? And I couldn't think of anything. And quite frankly, I was getting a little tired and wanted to go home. And our friend Ed said, why don't you take her to that house right off the Highway 36? And I said, what house? And James said, you'll see. So we started driving in that direction, and we came to this huge rundown 2-story house. And immediately I felt uneasy and nauseous. Nauseous. Yeah?
I said like the paranormal portal.
Paranormal Portal?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Paranormal portal.
Say it up here. I want you to say it in the speaker so everybody can see how well you can say that. Can you say it?
Paranormal portal.
Good job. Wow. Yeah, you're gonna be ready to co-host in no time. You're gonna be ready to host this gig. I'll be able to go sit on the couch and watch TV, and you can do it. All right, so they're looking for an old building, and I asked James what the story was on this house, and he said that back in the 1900s there was a family that lived here, a husband and a wife and their children. I can't remember how many children, but I said, okay, so why did you guys bring me here? And he said that when they lived here, somehow mercury got into their well water and caused them all to go insane. The man killed all of his family with an axe and hung his wife in the front yard and that really big tree. And I mentioned earlier, the big tree that I mentioned earlier, and then shot himself in the front yard afterwards. Now I do know that you can find this article in the newspapers in the library of my town. So I know there is truth to this. And I said, okay, well, I didn't really know what to expect at this point. And then our truck died. Well, that didn't really scare me because vehicles do that sometimes. And when they set and idle for a few minutes, and I was looking around and my eyes came to the side of the house near the backyard, and I will swear to this. I saw a huge dog. I know it was a dog because I could see the glint of reflected light on his eyes, and he would turn his head, and I could see his pink tongue moving in and out of his mouth as he panted. I could also see his rib cage as he was breathing, and the dog was no ordinary dog. It was gigantic. I can't think of any breed of dog or animal that could be that big. It just stared and pointed. I just stared and pointed. I was utterly speechless. The guys looked at each other and looked at me, and then the truck died again and would not start. Then from the corner of my eye, I saw a movement. The guys saw it too because they turned their heads to look in the same direction I was looking in. And there was somebody walking through the house. And the weird part was that 1 minute this thing would be upstairs where you could see it in the window, and the next minute it would be downstairs in the window. I was very frightened by this point, and I started feeling as if I couldn't breathe. It was like pressure on my chest, and I looked around the yard and thought I saw somebody walking around. The guy saw it too, and this is not a regular person. I do not think it was as if one moment it was full figure, and the next moment you could almost see through him. James was trying to start the truck, and it finally did. We pulled out of the driveway and started for home, and they won't admit it, but they were just as scared as I was. And when we got home, I started some bath water, and I looked in the mirror and saw something on my chest, and there was a massive handprint. I called James in to look at it and said that he saw it too. I think that while we were at that house, something was pushing on my chest, and that's why I couldn't breathe. I did see other things at that house that night, but I don't know how to begin to explain them. I will, however, get a copy of that news article and post it up on the website. And I don't see that that was ever done. So, I don't know. But I know there's, mercury will do that. Mercury is a crazy substance that'll really screw people up. It's pretty, but it ain't good for you. All right, the next story, ladies and gentlemen, is coming out of Texas. This is real short. I used to live at an Oak Ridge Military Academy in North Carolina. Well, glad you said you were from Texas. So it has to do with North Carolina then, I guess. Oak Ridge Military Academy in North Carolina, which was the site of a Civil War battle. I experienced many supernatural events while attending the academy, and one of the places that was haunted was a room in Cone dorm, Cone, C-O-N-E dorm, and many people had experienced the ghosts that lived in that room. We would slide hangers under the door, and they would all fly around and hit the door. And then one day, we slid a Bible under the door, and the next day we found it outside under the window in shreds. Nobody has ever had the nerve to enter this room. Another ghost was the one who haunted the middle room in the girls' dormitory, and there were severe temperature drops, and you could see your breath. And when no one was in the room, it sounded like someone was bouncing in the old spring beds, and you could hear giggles that sounded like little girls playing. And that's the whole story. And then I got one more, I guess, for you tonight. Maybe another one. I don't know. We'll see. I was 12 when my grandfather passed away, and for the next few months, this one's coming out of Florida, by the way, me and my brother and sister would stay over with my grandmother once a week to keep her company. And one night over there, I woke up in the middle of the night for no reason, and this is really unusual for me, especially since the house was quiet and I had no bathroom needs. But since I was up and wide awake, I decided to use the bathroom anyway and then get something to drink. On the way back from the kitchen, I distinctly heard the sound of steady breathing coming from the living room, which was pitch black and supposedly empty. A little freaked out, I told myself the sound was somehow echoing down from the bedrooms and went back down the hall. As I passed my grandmother's room, I heard her snoring a bit. The sound was not her. And I peeked in on the siblings, and it wasn't them either. Somehow I made myself go back down the hall to see what was going on. The breathing continued, and it was definitely coming from the living room. I stopped at the doorway and realized that it was coming from the far corner, my grandfather's favorite recliner. Like I said, it was pitch dark in there, so I couldn't see a thing. But I listened for a while and then went back to bed feeling really peaceful. There's no doubt in my mind that my abuelo was trying to let me know he was okay. That's really cool. Abuelo, of course, is grandfather in Spanish. I don't know. What do you think? More stories? A couple more? Couple more? You guys up for a couple more? Okay. Let's see what's going on. Here's one that sounds like it might be good. I'll pick up this one and see how long it is. Oh, it's really short. Comes out of Virginia. When I was little, I was in class and I felt that there was a ghost behind me watching everything I was doing. And it was really weird. I tried to move, but it was like he or she didn't want me to move. So it lasted about 30 seconds and that feeling went away. Then when I sleep in my room, I sometimes wake up to scary sounds. And it happens a lot now, lately, and I'm really sick of it. It's like footsteps are talking, and then when I go to the woods behind my house to visit my dog who had died, he was hit by a car, I feel like someone is watching me. I live out in the country, and there's a train track about an acre behind the woods, and when I'm back there, I hear the train whistle even though no one else can. And the wind picks up, it gets colder. Or is that just me? Sometimes every other week, I have dreams and it feels like they come true. I don't remember the dreams, I remember bits and pieces, and then when it comes true, I remember the whole dream. Will someone help me and tell me what's going on because I'm starting to get scared? Is this natural or is my mind playing tricks on me? Is it true if you feel like a ghost is in the room and you're scared, it means that this ghost is mean and wants to kill you? No, that's not true at all. Being sensitive is not, not a bad thing at all. But I think the fear response is just because it's a new experience. And feeling a foreign energy is probably, it is disconcerting. And you have to find balance with anything like that. So when you're coming into abilities, it seems frightening because reality suddenly changes. So there's a period of adjustment with those things. So that's not uncommon. But I don't know, folks. I think that's about where I'm going to wrap it up tonight. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you for all of you who have been here night after night after night as part of the portal. I just love you all, and the experiences are just amazing. The shows have been amazing, and you guys are a large part of that. I've also been getting a lot of emails from listeners, and I can't say a lot. I've gotten a few, and I'm really looking forward to doing an upcoming show to read those emails and to share them with you. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you have a ghost story or some kind of paranormal story that you'd like to share, please email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to read your story on the air as well. And if you don't want to be identified, just tell me in there that you'd rather remain anonymous. That's fine. We don't need to name you. But I just think it's just so cool when you guys share your experiences and bring that to the table because, it's one of my favorite parts of the show by far, is sharing those experiences with you guys and hearing what you guys have experienced as well. So, but I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. I'll be back again tomorrow night for more of the bedtime stories, and then Tuesday night, and then Don will be joining me Wednesday for our 2-hour show. And then Thursday, bedtime stories. Friday, Saturday, more 2-hour shows. But I would think, let me get the schedule here because I want to start putting the word out. But I just dropped my pen, didn't I?
I told you that.
You can get it? Oh, thank you. Thank you, little Don. I appreciate that. So on the 2nd coming up, Duke Sullivan of World Bigfoot Radio is going to be joining us on the portal, and that's one I'm really excited about too. I've just gotten to really know Duke just recently, and I just think he's a marvelous guy, and it's just amazing amount of experience and knowledge on the Bigfoot subject. So I'm really excited for him to be on the show and to see what we can get into. But thank you all. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Where'd you go, buddy? Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Thank you, though. Watch your head. Watch your head. Do you want to say goodnight? Come over here and you can say goodnight to everybody. Oops, I dropped it, didn't I? Do you want to say goodnight? Here, let's put this down. Okay, say thank you for watching. Good night.
Thank you for watching. Good night.
All right, see you guys. Roll the credits.